Is selling a probate property any different from selling a regular house? This is a question I get asked all the time. I just got it emailed to me earlier today. If you don't know me, my name is Nate Clark. I'm an Austin, Texas probate real estate agent. I help families sell inherited property every week. Let's get in and answer this question. So the short answer is no, it's not any different from selling a regular property. However, there are a couple of caveats to this. The first one is that you need to be confirmed as the executor or the administrator of the estate before you can sign a single document. Well, you can sign them, but they're not going to be legally binding. So it's basically a handshake. So basically, if somebody dies with a will, you have to go to probate court to be named as the executor of the estate. This means you get all your documents in line with your probate attorney. Typically, it takes a couple of months for the court to actually give you a court date. Here in Travis County, 90% of the time, you're going to have to come in person and put boots on the ground. So if you're coming from out of state, plan on making the trip to Austin, Texas, unless you get the second judge who doesn't handle as many cases. You're going to come, you're going to go in front of the judge. Provided your attorney has done all their paperwork correctly, it will be in and out in 10 minutes. You will be confirmed as the executor of the estate. That means that you get your letters testamentary, and you have the ability to sell the property, to sign a listing agreement, or what have you. Now, if the property owner died without a will, it's going to be the same process. It's going to take a little bit more work and be a little bit more complicated because there isn't a will to reference, but the end result is going to be the same. You are going to go down to the probate court. You're going to have a hearing. You're going to go in front of the judge. You will be confirmed as the administrator of the estate. You'll have your letters of administration, which give you the same powers as your letters testamentary to sign documents on behalf of the estate. At that point, it's basically the same as selling a regular property. Now, the second caveat is going to be the state that the house is in. A lot of times when people inherit property, the house is not in the best condition. So typically what people will do as a first order of business is they're going to want to remove sentimental personal artifacts from the property. So all the heirs can go to the property, they can pick and choose items and divide them up as they see fit to get any sentimental stuff out of the property and to split those up between the heirs. Then if there are any valuables that people don't want, you're probably better off getting some cash out of those valuables. So what most people do is they will have an estate sale set up where somebody's going to come in, they're going to put all those items up for sale. They typically have a large network of clients that are coming through as buyers in these estate sales. So if there are valuables, if there are antiques, if there's nice furniture or artwork, there's $10,000 or $20,000 worth of items, probably going to have an estate sale. After that point, it comes to donating and hauling off remaining items, then deciding if there are any repairs to be done, if a deep cleaning should be done, or if you want to put a bunch of money into the property, do a whole ton of renovations and updates, if you can put in $50,000 and get $100,000 back when you go to sell, this is another option that you have in selling an inherited property. One additional consideration to have when you're selling a inherited property is to get with the homeowner's insurance and make sure that there is a vacancy clause in place on the property if there's not anybody living there. God forbid something happens and the water heater goes out and leaks through a bunch of sheetrock and also ruins flooring. You don't want your insurance claim to get bounced because the insurer finds out that there wasn't anybody living at the property. So I highly recommend you get with the homeowner's insurance, put a vacancy clause on the property. Now, the only separating difference at this point is that typically if you're selling inherited property, you may be out of the area, which is why it's really important to have boots on the ground. You need somebody with a good team, a landscaper, a handyman. You need somebody that's going to be there to be able to look after the property, whether you want to rent it out, whether you want to sell the property. If you're not in the area, it's important you have somebody that has a vetted team of professionals. It's also important that if you want to sell, you can do so remotely, so you're not going to be having to travel a bunch for a closing. This is something that I deal with week in and week out. If you are looking at what the next steps are for an inherited property, I'm happy to chat with you. My contact information is down below. You can kind of see where you're at, what some of your options are, what the next steps look like.